nice.
Yes, go! Yes!
No! Oops.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Welcome to this edition of Lancaster Perspective. I'm Mike Miller. My special guest today is Kelly Messerly from the Fairfield County Historical Parks Association. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for having me, Mike.
We're glad you're here. I know there's a lot of activity going on in the parks.
Yes, there is.
But first, talk a little bit about Kelly, graduate of Lancaster High School.
Correct.
And The Ohio University.
That's right. Harvard on the hockey.
The Harvard on the hockey.
That's right. Go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. Going to be a great year this year in sports for them.
I hope so. That'll be exciting.
And you've been with the Parks Department just a brief period of time.
Yeah, almost 7 months. I started in February. I worked in publishing for about 7 years in Cincinnati. And my husband and I wanted to relocate up here, and he was able to get a job. And for about 6 months, we lived apart, and then this opportunity came my way, and I just feel so lucky to be able to be a part of it.
And you're actually the communications and finance coordinator.
Yes.
For the historical parks.
That's correct.
And I know we had a levy last year.
Yes, that's right. November 2011.
It was 0.4 of a mil, generates a little over $1 million a year.
Correct.
It's for 10 years.
Yes.
And I know there's been some additions, yourself as well as some other staff.
Yes, we also hired a director of planning, and his name is Larry Fink, and basically his job is to plan out the parks and kind of help us manage where we are going to send our maintenance projects next. We also entered into a co-management agreement with the Ohio Historical Society to help oversee the Waukeena Nature Preserve, which is near Sugar Grove out on Pump Station Road. And there are 2 staff members who work there. Tom Schisler is a very experienced naturalist, and we also have Robin White Strauss. She's been there for about 5 years, so if you come to Waukeena, they'll take good care of you, show you a lot of wonderful things that are happening in that preserve, and they're very knowledgeable.
Now, growing up in the area, did you spend a lot of time in the parks?
Well, I definitely remember. I remember when Rockmill was you were able to drive over Rockmill in a car. So that's how long I've kind of been around. And I remember seeing Rockmill just sort of as a ghost of a structure, you know, kind of leaning into the gorge. It was gray, dilapidated, beat down. And I remember thinking, gosh, I wish somebody would do something with that, because it was such a neat structure and in such a beautiful location. And I, you know, if you had told me that I would be involved in this at that time, I would have been excited and happy, but I might not have believed it. I don't know if I would have thought such a thing was possible.
I know Dave Fay and I actually did a radio show from out there once.
Yeah.
And, we spent some other time going through some of the parks, and I know Dave put a lot of time and a lot of effort into getting the levy passed, and now some revenues coming in and to help the parks. Actually, you brought a prop today.
I did. We are putting on our 26-foot in diameter all wooden water wheel. That's going to be happening September.
26 feet.
26
Okay.
feet in diameter. So from here to the other end there, that's 26 feet. The wheel itself will weigh about 8 tons. And we have already installed the support structure, which is called a trestle. And our trestle, it looks a lot like this model right here. It weighs well over 10 tons. The forebay, this part right here, weighs over 4 tons. We have in the back a piece of lumber that itself just weighs 1 ton. And our axle, it mostly holds the weight of the axle of the wheel. So this part is already in the gorge, waiting for the wheel to be constructed in a few weeks.
Now, would that be constructed here in Ohio, or is that being shipped from?
It is being shipped. We had the trestle built by a local crew, Sean Holter out of Fairfield County, and we actually had to contract with a millwright in Virginia. There aren't too many folks who still build water wheels, so there are actually about 5 people nationwide who do this sort of thing. And our guy, his name is Ben Hassett, he is in Virginia. He assembled the wheel, did a dry run of assembly, and he then took it apart. It's all shrink wrapped, and it's going to be shipped via truck to the gorge, and it'll be assembled next weekend.
That'll be neat. Now, can people come and watch that?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. We're having sort of an open house, the Rockmill celebration. That's September 8th and 9th, and it runs noon to 5 both days. We're expecting a good crowd, so we're asking visitors to park at the lot on Collins and Lithopolis Road, which is right off of 33. Right. We're going to have a continuous shuttle to and from the mill. Actually, we'll have a couple of shuttle buses going back and forth. Space is so limited at the actual mill site, so we're asking folks to park back there. But we will have, in addition to bleachers that will be set up in the gorge for people to sit and watch this all come together, the mill will be open. We'll have people on hand who can answer questions, do presentations. We'll have food vendors. Our local favorite, Gypsy Joe's, will be out there.
Well worth a trip.
Just that itself. And then we'll also have a lot of historic demonstrations. So visitors will be able to come and kind of get a feel for what our ancestors, what life was like for them. We'll have blacksmiths, spinning and weaving.
Well, I know at one time, Dave Fay, one of his visions was to have a old-time village of blacksmiths, and he was talking about doing up at Baltimore to Smeck Farm and having people come in. And is that going to be something like this, or is it just for this one day?
This is just for this particular weekend, but we are still planning to turn the Smeck Farm into a historical village. And in fact, next year, 2013, one of our bigger projects will be reconstructing the Fetterhood Barn. Rockmill was a pretty big project this year. So next year we'll be turning more of our attention to Baltimore.
Well, since you have the levy money coming in, how do you decide what projects to do? Do you just sit down and, let's do this? Or I know you hired a new developer or planning.
Well, he has been instrumental in that. He's created a 10-year plan, and that is available for public. Anytime they'd like to come and see it, just give our office a call. We'd be happy to make that available to them. We had a very small budget before our levy passed, and we have a lot of maintenance projects, just buildings that really need some attention, covered bridges that are missing some floorboards. So looking at that first and just trying to preserve what we have, keeping things from deteriorating further. Right. It's sort of a balance between doing that and then doing these new construction projects to really turn some of our properties into exciting parks.
So are you doing multiple projects at a time, or do you complete like the Rockmill wheel and then go on to something else? We do multiple projects at a time. While we've been working on the mill has been a project that's lasted about 5 years, but early this spring, we also made some repairs to the Meek Hollow covered bridge. That's in Hocking Township, and if you haven't been out there, it's definitely worth a drive because it's such a scenic and beautiful location. It's a small covered bridge that was built in the late 1800s, and it sits on its original sandstone abutments. So that's kind of a neat historic feature, but the one side was sort of washing away into the river. So we had that repaired. We also had some new canopies, which are sort of the overhangs on the side of the bridge. We had those repaired, and the bridge approaches repaired too. So it's a nice spot we have a parking lot there. Folks can drive out there, park, walk through the bridge. There's a nice shaded area with picnic benches and some little trails behind it. So it's a really nice, quiet spot that I don't think too many people know about. So if you're looking for just a quiet space to go and read a book or just take it, watch the river flow under the bridge, it's a beautiful location for that. Now, are you doing a lot of advertising outside the state of Ohio to bring people in?
Yes, we have reached out to outside organizations. There is one group that we've been working with in particular particular, there is a society for the preservation of old mills, and we're expecting some of them to come. So we've advertised with them, and once our bridge, or I beg your pardon, once our mill has the wheel on it, we will be submitting an article to them. And we'll also continue to reach out to NPR and some of our national...
Now, who's NPR?
National Public Radio.
Okay.
As well as PBS. And we've been working a lot with the Economic Development Bureau here in the county, Shane Farnsworth and Linda Kaufman, and we're funneling stuff to them so that hopefully through their connections as well, we can gain some more attention.
Do you sense a lot of people becoming more involved in going to parks? I mean, more family type thing?
Yes. It's funny. I maintain our Facebook page, so part of my job, and I'm really lucky, is to go out to the parks, and especially if we have something new going on, like the construction of the trestle, I'll go out, take some pictures. But a lot of times, I'll plan to be out there for maybe an hour while folks are swinging by to check out the mill, and if they see the doors open, they want to come in, and understandably so. It's such an incredible structure, and so a lot of times I kind of end up out there for a little bit longer than I meant to be, and I know the same has happened to Dave, but that's a good thing. Everybody is really excited that I've encountered and very supportive of what we're doing here. We get a lot of positive comments on our Facebook page, so that's great.
Now, when we talk about the historical parks, and a lot of people don't know the difference. I mean, they say, well, a park's a park. But there is a difference between Lancaster Community Parks and historical parks.
Well, Lancaster Community Parks, first of all, they do an amazing job. They focus mostly on Lancaster. We are countywide, and we have spaces everywhere throughout the county. And we are more of a historical slant. So our properties are covered bridges, old churches,
Stonewall
Cemetery, Rockmill. But we do maintain in Violet Township, we have some land out there that we lease to the Pickerington Soccer Association, and this year we put in a brand new playground structure that has swing sets, and we put in the fancy mulch that keeps everything all nice and soft should anyone fall, heaven forbid. But so we do have some things that would interest our very our youngest constituents. And of course, the Waukeena Nature Preserve, they do such a great job with programming, and schools go out there for field trips. And in fact, at our Smek farm this past year, we had a school trip out there, and they had set up sort of a Pioneers Day with different stations. So as our parks develop and as we create more programming, we definitely want to work with schools more to bring the kids out there and let them experience what their cultural history is.
Now, do you get a lot of people that call in and say, gee, why don't you put this in this park, or why don't you put that in this park? Or
we get a few calls like that, and I just take that as a sign of the interest that people have, that they want us to do well, that they want these parks to succeed. And, I pass every message on to our director. He gets them.
That's neat. That's really... Now, what drew you to this job? I mean, you talked about coming back to Lancaster and, with your husband, but, I mean, what... Did you wake up one day and say, gee, I want to be involved in this?
Well, not exactly, but I will say when I was presented with this opportunity, I just thought it was incredible to be able to come back to my hometown and do something that's really going to improve the quality of life for people who live here, not just in Lancaster, but in Fairfield County, and to be part of building a park system up from scratch. We didn't really... I'm in the process of building a new website and, continuing to help get the word out there and all the great things that we're doing. This is really a positive thing, and it's nice to be able to share good news with people.
Sure. Now, do you go to other parks, other states, and say, gee, we ought to do that? That's pretty neat.
Well, to be honest...
stealing ideas, what I'm asking.
That is definitely on the plan, but I'll be honest, getting things ready for the Rockmill celebration, I haven't had a lot of free time to take many road trips, but I will say there are a number... I was actually in Springfield earlier, and there is a mill out there, the Clifton Mill, and I took a drive by that just to kind of see what the competition looks like, what's shaking out there, see what other people are doing with their mills. And I think I've been bitten by the history bug for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of projects going on.
Yes.
There's just a lot of stuff. One of them that's coming up, now this is in October down
Yeah.
the road, but Ghost Stories at Stonewall Cemetery going to involve Dave Fay.
Oh yes, and if anyone has been on a tour with Dave Fay, they know what a great storyteller he is. We will be we will be telling ghost stories at the Stonewall Cemetery, which is on Stonewall Cemetery Road off of 22, and that's taking place October 27th. The event is free, however, the space is very limited because we'll be sitting folks up inside the walls of Stonewall Cemetery. So seating is limited to a total of 75 tickets. Like I said, it's free, but you have to reserve a ticket space.
Now, call the office, go to the website,
Yes.
what should they do?
They should call me at the Parks office, and our number is 681-7249. And I will say we actually aren't taking reservations until October 1st, but there will be 2 sessions of stories at Stonewall, one at 5 and one at 8. And it'll be really exciting. There'll be people in costume telling ghost stories, and we think it'll be quite fun.
If you've not heard Dave Fay talk about
it is not to be missed.
It really is. He does a super job.
Yes.
We're talking with Kelly Messerly, the Communications and Finance Coordinator for the Fairfield County Historical Parks. When down the road, I mean, you know, money's coming in, but down the road, what are you looking for? What do you want to see? What do you guys want to do?
Well, we want to make Fairfield County a tourist destination. We think that there's a lot of wonderful history still intact here in this county, and we want people not just here in Fairfield County, but folks in surrounding counties, in the state, nationwide, globally. We'll take globally as well. We want folks to come and see what we have here because we think Fairfield County is a very unique and special place. You know, it's not every place that you have what was designated a presidential cemetery, or, you know, once we have Rockmill up and running as a working grist mill, there aren't too many places where you can come and see that happen. The village, the Smeck Farm Village, that'll be a unique experience as well. We have a canal system. We have an ancient American earthworks. So we have a lot to offer, and we definitely want to drive some of those tourism dollars to our county.
Absolutely, that's a great idea. We talked earlier about Dave Fay and the historical village up at the Smeck Farm, which is a really neat, I mean, this has been years ago. He was telling me about it. We actually went up and walked around, and he said, this is going to be over here, and this is going to be over there. Talk about working with Dave. Just, I mean, you know, he's an educator by trade, but just talk about working with Dave.
Well, it's wonderful. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sure he'll be watching.
That's all right.
But it's just great because you know that you're doing something special. You know, we're making history ourselves doing this. But you just learn so much. It really is, you know, something for the mind as well as the heart. So it's just been such a pleasure. And just learning so much about my own hometown and my own county. And, you know, Dave, he didn't grow up in Fairfield County. He's an immigrant, if you will, too. He immigrated to Fairfield County, and he just thinks this place is great. And I have to say, I agree.
Now, percentage-wise, of people that live in Fairfield County that maybe haven't even been to a park, just 10%, 20%? I mean, just take a guess.
Maybe I'm going to say 25% and be optimistic. I think folks maybe drive by our covered bridges and look at them and think, oh, that's really pretty. But I think as we grow and develop, they'll look at that and they'll know that's a Fairfield County Historical Park.
Dave told me that I believe there's a picture of Rockmill in every foreign embassy.
That's true. Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Or it was true, at least in the 50s and 60s. His name escapes me, to be honest, but there was a man who was in charge of designing the embassies. He grew up in this area, and he loved the Rockmill covered bridge so much that he included that in all of the embassies that he designed.
Wow, that is neat.
Isn't that a wonderful little historical fact?
What do you have to do to get documents that, you know, like that? I mean, what do you have to do? Do you have to go to Washington and say, we want to register this, or?
We can register places on the national, as a marker for the National Historic Registry, and that is actually housed through the Ohio Historical Society. But I'll tell you, Dave really feels passionately about not replacing our history with plaques. He'd much rather have the structure there itself to be able to tell visitors its story, rather than looking at a bronze plaque saying, here once stood a canal. He'd much rather the canal actually be there so people can see exactly what that was like. But a lot of time, we've been so lucky, so many people present us with information. People in the county come forth with old pictures of the mill or old stories. We actually do a lot to, we work with Lou Varga out at Varga Communications a lot to document just oral histories of some of the things that Fairfield County has gone through in its past. So we have a nice collection of oral histories. And I think in time we'll be doing something really special.
If someone wanted to become part of the parks, do they contact you?
They, of course, are always welcome to contact me. We do have a volunteer organization that we work with. They're called Fairfield County Forever, and they have organizational meetings the first Monday of every month. I will say they won't be doing it this month in September because of Labor Day, but their next meeting, I believe October 1st is a Monday. So I think that's their next meeting. I think they're meeting at Rockmill. But folks are always welcome to call us at the Parks office. That number again is 681-7249. And from there I can put them in touch with the secretary and the board of Fairfield County Forever.
So do they still need volunteers?
Oh yes, oh yes. Besides just helping with events, we want to further a program of docents, of county ambassadors, people who know a lot about the county, who can be on hand to give tours of some of our parks. And to just sort of represent our county well. If there's a tour bus coming through, we'd like for those individuals to, we could send them to the sites, and then when the bus stops, the folks get off and they hear what the docent has to say, get back on the bus, go to the next stop.
Now, is it hard to get a bus stop?
Well, some of our parks do have some interesting parking situations, but...
No, I mean, is it possible, how hard is it to call and say, we want to put this on your stop? Do you call the charter companies and say, we'd like you to do that?
Well, mostly folks contact us directly. They usually have the bus lined up. They call us, we try to accommodate their date. It's just a matter of contacting us, finding out what dates, usually Dave is available. And then from there, it's, they usually arrange the bus stop. We work a lot with the Visitors and Convention Bureau, so we work really closely with Kathy. She sends a lot of business our way, which is great. But right now, it's donation only, so, and you get a heck of a show with Dave Fay, so it's quite a deal.
Yeah, Dave is a great guy.
Yes.
He's an absolutely fantastic guy. Website, if people want to go to the website, what's
historicalparks.org, O-R-G. And then our Facebook page, that's a great spot where I like to send people because we keep it pretty active with photos of different projects that we have going on. And that is facebook.com/Fairfield County Parks.
Did you think Facebook would be where it is today? When you first, I don't even know how to get on it.
Oh. I'm not surprised. And I'm actually finding now, when it first started, it was a thing for young people, and I wasn't even part of the young crowd.
That's why I'm not on
that was not me at first, when Facebook first started. But now our audience are people, mostly ages. Most of the new people on Facebook are 54 years old.
Oh, they're young people.
Yeah, they're young.
Okay.
They're young.
Good.
So it's not just college kids anymore. And actually that makes up the majority of our Facebook followers. There are actually more women, and they are in their 50s. And but it's just been great because we can put out information, we get feedback immediately, and it's a great tool to allow us to keep the citizens of Fairfield County updated on what we're doing.
We just have a few minutes left. I know we talked about October 27th for Stonewall Cemetery.
Yes.
Some other activities that are coming up in the next
Well, I want to say one more time, the Rockmill celebration, September 8th and 9th. It's actually part of the Covered Bridge and Heritage Festival, which is organized by Fairfield County Forever, our volunteer group. So the Sherman House, the Georgian, they will all be open, and there will be a tour book available for people to pick up. And if they present, let's see, we've got 4 restaurants who will give them a discount if they that weekend if they have their tour book on hand. Shaw's here in Lancaster, Roots Restaurant here in Lancaster, Pacers in Pleasantville, and the Clay House in Somerset.
Been to all of them.
Hey, all great places, and you get a little discount that weekend if you have your tour book on you. And you can pick up those tour books at the Parks office. You can also get them at the participating historical organizations, which is pretty much any county-wide historical organization.
And the Parks office is open
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. That's our standard hours, but chances are you'll see a parked car at a...
We're still on Main Street, right?
We're still on Main Street, 407 East Main.
Okay.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, Kelly, it's been great having you here.
It's been wonderful to be here.
Talking about all the different activities going on with the historical parks and all the new additions, and congratulations on your new job.
Thank you.
And we're glad you're here. Anything you want to talk about OU Bobcats? Now's the time to do it.
I'll just say go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. There you go. Now, do you go to a lot of games? You get down to the basketball? Football?
You know, I have not been since I was in graduate school, which was a couple of years ago. Just leave it at that.
Well, again, Kelly Messerly, the Communications and Finance Coordinator for the Fairfield County Historical Parks. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in on today's show. And remember, until we meet again, let's make a difference.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.